Everybody, is that all of us here? Are we Cora? Are the cameras on? Yep, thank you. So, welcome to Cabinet today. I'm sorry we've started a minute later, but some of my colleagues were fasting, so I had to break their fast very quickly. So, apologies for absence. I've received apologies from Councillor Goodwin. Are there any more? No, thank you. Item 2 is urgent business. I've not received any items. No. Item 3 is declarations of interest. Does any member have an interest to declare on any matter in the agenda? No. Item 4 is public question time. Thank you. So no public questions. Item 5 is minutes. Does Cabinet agree with the minutes of the meeting held on the 17th of February 2025? Thank you. Item 6 is the local development team. Over to you, Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. So, as Cabinet will be aware, in December, the Deputy Prime Minister wrote to all local authorities to introduce the revised National Planning Policy Framework and proposed planning reforms, and to request that we review and update our timetables for putting in place an up-to-date development plan. So we was given 12 weeks to complete that, and there was a deadline of the 6th of March. So the Places for Everyone Joint Development Plan, which was adopted almost 12 months ago, forms part of this plan. And while it doesn't cover everything that a development plan needs to address, it was always intended that Greater Manchester boroughs would also adopt their own Part 2 local plan to sit alongside the Places for Everyone. Consequently, there remains a need to progress the Oldham local plan to provide up-to-date policies, particularly in relation to the delivery of affordable housing and achieving the right housing mix, and to address the housing crisis that we obviously face. So it is important to know that this report has been updated to reflect the decision that was taken at the extraordinary council meeting on the 12th of Feb, where council voted to write to the Deputy Prime Minister seeking revocation from the Places for Everyone Joint Development Plan. So as a result of that decision, this report has two different recommendations because obviously we are still awaiting the outcome of the Deputy Prime Minister's decision in relation to revocation of Places for Everyone for Oldham Borough. So the recommendations are highlighted on page 2 of the report. But given that the deadline for publishing details of a new local development scheme is on Thursday of this week, so just 3 days away, obviously it wasn't possible to offer a single recommendation at this stage. So Cabinet are asked to agree the report on that basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Does any member wish to speak on this report? So just a few comments from me, because I think this is a really important one for the future of housing in the borough. And whilst some would argue that the outcome of the meeting of the extraordinary council was democratic, I would disagree. I would say that is when politics is done badly, and when politics is played with issues that are of great significance and to the importance of this borough and the opportunities that come with it. We're awaiting a reply from the Deputy Prime Minister. It's wise that this report seeks approval to continue with the Part 2 local plan to sit alongside Places for Everyone, as well as starting again and bringing a new paper back to Cabinet in the summer. But that being said, I do think we should note the Deputy Prime Minister's comments over the weekend. For those that are aware, she made it really clear and hinted that her preference is for Oldham to remain as part of the Places for Everyone plan. We'll wait for the letter to come. But actually, from a Labour group perspective, we have been really, really clear that we disagreed with because we were so aware of the politics that was being played. We also tried meeting to highlight the disaster that has unfolded in Stockport as a result of them withdrawing from Places for Everyone, the damage that's done not just to the local authority but in confidence, in making sure that those that you elect to positions of power to make the right decisions by you are not exploited. And in my opinion, they were massively because, once people moved away from the theatrics of the chamber, people acknowledged the issues around Places for Everyone, and I just think that's really, really poor politics. You should stand by firmly what you believe in. And as a Labour administration, we've done that time and time again, made the case of the importance of it, how much more influence we have it. And actually what we have done, the outcome of that, if the Deputy Prime Minister was to agree that we would withdraw from it, would mean that we would have no control whatsoever of any of our green spaces. And actually 97% of our green spaces were protected in that Places for Everyone plan. So it's been really disappointing, but I think, you know, I think based on what I heard from the Deputy Prime Minister over the weekend, I'm really, really confident that the response that we will get will be the right one, and that will be to remain in Places for Everyone. So does any other member wish to speak to that report? No. So does members agree with the recommendations as set out in that report?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 7 is United Utilities Green Recovery Fund, additional funding and grant acceptance. So this report is simply seeking to approve and accept the grant of £600,000 from United Utilities from their Green Recovery Fund. The money is going to be used to increase the sustainable drainage systems at Snipe Gardens, which is our new fantastic entrance to the town centre from the bus station, as well as the public realm improvements and planting to make sure that that space is a pleasant one that visitors and residents can use and enter at that site, but something that's easy on their eye aesthetically as well. So this will build on similar work we've done already. So you will know at West Street, at Rock Street, at Market Street and at Curzon Street, using previous grant funding from United Utilities. And it actually fits with our plans to make the town centre a nicer place to be, and one where residents will choose to spend their time. So does any member wish to speak on that report? No? Okay, does Cabinet agree with the recommendations as set out in the report?
Agreed.
Okay, so item 8 is the continuation of the HAF programme. Councillor Mushtaq.
Thanks, Chair. So this report seeks approval to accept £1.5 million from Department for Education grant to continue the holiday activities and food programme for 25-26. Of the duration of the HAF programme in Oldham, we have delivered comprehensive programme of activities over the Easter, summer and winter holiday periods, and this has been further enhanced from this administration, funding from Household Support Fund that has enabled us to widen the HAF offer and provide free places for families in need who are not in receipt of free school meals. Over the past 3 years alone, over 26,000 children and young people have accessed more than 120,000 HAF sessions. With regard to the decisions, it's split into three. Cabinet's asked to accept the grant. That's option 1. And in terms of payment for delivery to providers, that there's a slight change in that. Previously, it was all done up front. This time, it's going to be a tiered approach to ensure that best value for money, and payment on delivery, the second half of the 50% payment on delivery. That is option 2. And the third element is the dedicated HAF programme team, which is to continue the secondment arrangements in place for one HAF manager and one HAF coordinator to lead delivery of the programme. And that's option 2. So that's the ask of Cabinet. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mushtaq. And again, on this item, I know you spoke about some of the technicalities, but actually, I'm really, really proud as chair of Children and Young People Board for the LGA as well, because we really know what kind of difference this makes to people and how far this can go when utilised properly. And up and down the country, so many children, young people and their families really welcome the support that this gives them. And when this was extended a couple of months ago, there was just a sigh of relief from everybody across the country because of how important it's been. I'm also really, really proud of our team here, actually, because I know the sessions that we put in on Oldham over the last 3 years, that nearly 30,000 children and young people have benefited from them. And I'm also really proud that actually in Oldham, we widened our offer out of HAF, which meant that we were able to offer free places for those families that don't actually receive school meals as well, because sometimes there's an assumption that only those people that are on school meals are vulnerable or need the extra support. But actually there are many people, many families that are in work, their parents are in work and they still can't afford to access some of them sessions. So I think it was just fantastic. So a huge thank you to you, Councillor Mushtaq, but for the teams across across, because it's not just even though Director of Education is like staring at me across the room, it's not just the children's services element of this, it's housing, and it's like the communities. So Councillor Dean, your sector as well, how everybody came together to find an offer that meant that we could use so much and really, really draw on everything that people needed, vulnerable people needed. And that was all you done because you all came together collectively and did something that was like different, to make sure that that money was not just used effectively, but that it really had an impact on the most vulnerable in our community. So thank you so much for that. So does Cabinet agree with the recommendations as set out in that report?
Agreed.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Item 9, similarly, again, is the Family Hubs and Start for Life programme. Councillor Mushtaq.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Again, yeah, similar to the last one. So the report's seeking approval to receive associated funding from the Department for Education and Department of Health and Social Care to deliver Year 4 of the Family Hub and Start for Life programme. So this time it's 1.38 million for the fiscal year 2025-26 to continue delivery of the said programme. As you know, Chair, we now have 7 newly rebranded family hubs across the borough, which are delivering a range of services funded through the programme. Family hubs are helping to strengthen the integration between early help and early year services, helping to improve connectivity with our intensive targeted family support services, as well as helping to drive and shape meaningful place-based integration and collaboration with partners, including the voluntary, community, faith and social enterprise sectors. And no doubt everyone will have seen some of the press releases of the impact the family hubs are having on individual parents, on families, on dads, really importantly as well, and bonding with their babies, and just in general. And this starts 28 weeks into conception, post-birth. So fantastic work going on, and the ask is that we go for option 1, which is to approve the recommendations set out in the report. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Mushtaq. Before we move to the recommendations of the report, I want to again put on, similarly to the last item, put on record my thanks again to you, to the team, to Matt, you as Director of Education, for all the part you played in it. And I had the privilege of being invited to visit some of these family hubs. And you're right, Councillor Mushtaq, there's so much more than a group of people getting together. There's a real good team spirit in there, a supportive environment, and it gives people an opportunity to meet with people like them to talk about, all the issues that they have in their lives. In some ways, it's almost like a counselling therapy session for some people, isn't it, in there? So I've really, really enjoyed visiting them, and we keep hearing about the positive impact that's had on families. So the family hubs have been a huge success. And I also, though, know, and the reason why I thank you most is because I know that it hasn't been easy. It's not about just opening a building and just having people, go in there. You've seen some real challenges along the way, but in just seeing some of the positive case studies that have come out from those families that are accessing the services at one of our 7 hubs shows that it was really, really worthwhile. So thank you so much. So does any other member wish to speak? No? Okay, does Cabinet agree with the recommendations as set out in that report?
Agreed.
Okay, so item 10 is accommodation-based services, including the transfer of service management to housing needs. Councillor Brownridge.
Thank you. This is to sort of rectify a historic anomaly, if you like. So currently, the funding for temporary accommodation for vulnerable people is funded by adult social care, and that's not really the appropriate place for it. So what this seeks is a 12-month extension to those existing contracts to allow the system to be reviewed and that service to be transferred back to housing where it actually belongs. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor, would you like to add anything? Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just to say that, we welcome the report. We are looking forward to taking this on, and we want to obviously build on those relationships.
Yeah, and again, I think this accommodation-based services, this is so vital, and we need to provide these to some of the most vulnerable in our communities. And I think giving people that stability that they need to lead their lives independently is absolutely crucial. So I think it's a wise move actually to transfer this service to the housing needs team, so we can ensure a wider but a holistic approach. And similar to, I know half is different, but it's that same sort of spirit, isn't it? You make the right decisions in the right places, and then we're not about being effective, we're about having an impact, aren't we? So if you can do both, that's a win-win. So no, absolutely brilliant move, I think. So does any other member wish to speak on that? No? Okay, does Cabinet agree with the recommendations as set out in the report? Okay, item 11 is reduce public health funding investment to the All Age Early Intervention Contract. Councillor Brownridge.
Thank you, Chair. This is really just to confirm the budget decision that was made earlier in the year. So I suppose similar to the previous item, there are historic ways that money's been used. So the public health budget has been used quite widely for issues outside purely public health. And we've been trying to address that over the last 12-18 months. So again, this say historically, we funded a lot of the age early intervention service. We're looking to pull back from that. So we're not stopping it altogether, we're just reducing the contribution. So it was agreed earlier that that would be a budget option. So it's really just to confirm that we are going to go ahead with that, because if we don't, then we have to find some more savings. So it's as stark a decision as that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Brownridge. Councillor Mushtaq, do you want to add anything?
Nothing to add, Chair.
All right, thank you so much. Does any other member wish to speak? No. Okay, so does Cabinet agree with the recommendations as set out in the report? So item 9 is exclusion of the press and public, and you will be alarmed to know that I always get this bit wrong. So I have to move this, do I? Or does somebody else move it? Right, thank you. That's the right process. Thank you so much.